Very good. So we're just going to switch that over.
His name's Spencer.
Spencer, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Cool, very good. And we can hear you. Excellent. And are you coming up? Is Tori coming up?
No, I'll come up.
You come up. Okay. That's all right. I'll give you that one. Introduce yourself.
Hello everybody, welcome. My name is Angel Aviles. I'm the store leader for Tesla at the Florida Mall. We had a couple of folks here from Eatonville also. Merritt Island wasn't able to come. Apparently they had a surprise visit. So we're here to do test drives and also to field a Q&A with Spencer, who is in California. He's a part of our virtual solar consultation team. This is a free service that Tesla offers to anyone who has any questions regarding solar. You can actually schedule a virtual solar consultation at any time, and I believe we did a session with your group where they chimed in and did a solar consult. And basically what they do is they will look at what your current situation is, whether solar panels or solar roof or even power walls would be appropriate. They do thermonuclear imagery of your roof and figure out what are the hot spots and what would be the most efficient system for you. And that's completely free of charge. No order needs to be put in. It's just to make sure you're getting the right information and all your questions answered, and then figure out if this is something that you want to proceed with when you're comparing it to all your other solar options.
Cool, good stuff. So I'm going to open it up to questions in a moment, but I'm sure there's lots, and hopefully it won't get too negative, I hope. But before we get going, so we did the session online where we had you guys very politely joined us, thank you. One of the questions that I asked back then was, so what's the availability of product looking like? And I got a very definitive answer back, and the definitive answer was, yeah, no problem, don't worry about it, we got tons of it. Over the course of the next weeks and month, I was inundated by this lot saying, I can't get a roof, I can't get a power wall, nothing's available, what are these Tesla people talking about? So, at the risk of getting the same answer again, what's the current state of availability of panels, roof, power walls, etc.?
So I would say currently, as of right now, for the panels themselves, we are probably looking at anywhere from 3 to 4 months for full installation. In regards to the solar roof itself, we're definitely going to be looking a lot longer than that. We're probably looking at anywhere from 6 to 8 months, maybe even a little bit longer at this point.
And for power walls, are they available as part of the package to be ordered separately?
So everything with the power wall is going to be directly married to either the solar panels or the solar roof. As of right now, there is no way that we can do the power wall by itself. However, Elon has tweeted that it should be available before the end of the year, but that has not been fully confirmed. We're hoping, that's my main hope here, that we can go ahead and get that individually. But as of right now, if you get your solar system installed, the expectation is that the power wall will be installed with the solar panels as well, and the solar roof.
Spencer, just to follow up on that, if they have an existing solar panel now, can they add more solar panels and then at that point add power walls?
So yes, so if you currently have your own solar system, you can potentially get Powerwall. However, the bare minimum that Tesla can install is a 12-panel system, a 4.8 kilowatt system. So in order to get Powerwall at this point, you will also need to get 12 panels installed with that installation as well. If you have no room for 12 panels, if you don't want 12 panels, then that option will not be available to you at this current point.
Okay, and then last question from me before I open it up. So a couple of the, one of the things that I can do to help the club, so we don't announce this officially, but one of the things that I can do, I do have a close relationship with Tesla and the management team all the way up and all the way to corporate. So we do have kind of a backdoor escalation chain. So if things are not going right, we do have ways that we can maybe speak to people that you can't. I've had to do that a couple of times.
You've reached out to me.
I've reached out to you.
A couple of people here have come and thanked us for following up. So.
But one of the main reasons why I've had to do that seems to be that work starts on a property, and often the shingles get stripped off and the rest of it, and then things suddenly stall. and they potentially sit with a bare roof, which is not a good thing in Florida, as we know for the weather. Are they very much, rare occurrences, and what might have gone wrong that causes those types of situations?
That's a Spencer question.
Yeah, so there's a whole slew of reasons why something like that might actually happen. It might just be the product availability. It could be all the way to the installers just not being timely. There's not a direct answer to that question as to why it might stall directly in the middle of installation. But what I can tell you is that, upper management is definitely aware of this situation. I believe right now it is a territorial-based thing. I don't know exactly what the issue might be, but we are working on ways to remedy this situation to where we don't leave you with a bare roof for months at a time. Ultimately, that's not Tesla's goal. We want to make sure that everything is taken care of in a timely manner. So that's what we're working on getting on. And as far as I'm aware, it's definitely getting better. But there are still some kinks to work out in regards to solar roof in Florida, especially because in the Florida region, especially in the Miami-Dade County where we had to get hurricane rating approval, it is still a relatively new product in that region. So that's why I think that we need to still iron out those kinks, and those remedies should be coming in down the pipeline shortly.
So after the meeting we had back in May, or whenever it was, April, I ordered my solar panels. It's taken all this time. I have an install date of November 28th, and I'm hoping it's going to all happen. I'm getting apparently 66 panels plus 2 power walls and another, I don't know, not gateway, but the other thing, inverter. So anyway, my question is, being in Florida, because we had a hurricane recently, how likely is the solar panel going to be able to sustain a Cat 2, a Cat 3, or what's the official rating, what's the real rating?
Great question. So in regards to the solar panels themselves, we do use a proprietary puck-mounted technology that requires 30% less roof penetration than any other competitor on the market. That being said, in the Florida region, we do expect to withstand a Class F wind rating, which would be about 165 miles per hour of wind. Now, with that being said, I've seen many pictures in Arizona, Oklahoma, where these solar panels are currently installed that can literally stay attached in the event of a tornado ripping through as well. So I am extremely confident knowing that with these panels attached to your roof, it should be able to withstand those categories of hurricanes that you had mentioned.
Okay, cool. And what are the chances of having stock? It's November 28th, and will I have a bare roof, or will they actually deliver the panels when they start installing?
The expectation is that we will be installing the panels on the said install date. So I would definitely take it that you will be getting installed on November 8th.
Okay, cool.
Hi, I'm Richard from Radisson, Florida. We have a Tesla 37-panel solar system that was installed about 4 years ago, and it has always worked perfectly. We survived Hurricane Ian with absolutely no damage whatsoever, and several homes immediately around me had panels from their pool heater ripped off their house, and we were just worked perfectly right through the whole thing. So, but I do have a question.
Sure.
We sometime in the next year or two, we are probably going to have to replace the roof. How much can I expect that to cost, and how much advance notice do you need to schedule this?
So generally we're gonna want about, I'd say 2 to 3 months prior to your project being actually starting. So as of right now, the price varies. It depends on the complexity of the project, and it depends on what we exactly need to do. As of right now, I would probably expect to see that range, and I'm gonna be a little vague here, from anywhere from $2,000 all the way up to $10,000 to get that completed. Now, once we do an on-site analysis, we'll be able to really analyze exactly how much to give you a pinpointed and custom tailored project amount. But as of right now, like I said, we can probably expect a range from anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 at the current moment.
Yes, and I have got 2 phases of Tesla solar put on my house, and I would, these are panels, which the thing about the roof coming out, that only has to go with the solar roof. I don't think that's going to apply to you, so don't worry about that. But I would like to compliment the team here in the Orlando area. One amazing job. They came out in one day and did each phase in one day, which I've had other solar projects that went on for months and years of nonsense. So they came out like a SWAT team and put the system on. Now my question is, and it took many months afterwards for full compliance or completion of approvals from the electric company. That's our problem with Duke Energy. And the first time it was just technical problems, people not understanding how to complete forms, not paying attention to what they were doing. But on the second phase, the problem I'm having, I think, is a pretty global problem that we need to talk about, especially also the gentleman with 66 panels. He's going to be susceptible to it, and that's the Tier 2 insurance requirement. I don't know how far across the country this goes, but at least with Duke Energy, they require $1 million liability policy if you go into Tier 2 more than, I think it's supposed to be 10,000 watts, but in actual solar, it's I think 11.7 kilowatts or above. Currently I'm trying to comply with that, and I'm having trouble finding insurance companies that will even write that kind of policy. In fact, some of them want, if they hear that you have too many panels, kind of going to this other question before about the hurricanes, where actually the systems in reality support the roof and protect it, but the insurance companies with a regressive thought pattern think that somehow it's a risk for your house. So they won't even provide, some of them will take away your home insurance and too big of a solar system. So I don't know what experience you guys can have about this issue and are working on it. Maybe this is a great job for Tesla Insurance, besides for cars, is to take care of this particular insurance issue.
Yeah, that's a great question, also a great suggestion. Hopefully we can go ahead and kind of delve into that in the future, but obviously can't speak about that too far. It is an issue though. Duke Energy is extremely hard to work with, especially with that $1 million policy, which does seem to be an issue. As far as I'm aware, I know that there is a current lawsuit to try to get around that, but I'm not going to speak about that too much because I don't know too much about what's currently being said about that. But yeah, as of right now, it is kind of hard, especially with insurance companies requiring a $1 million policy for homes. It is very unfortunate. I know that there might be some workarounds for some different projects, but I wouldn't be able to speak directly to it as it is an extremely case-by-case basis. So as of right now, there is really no way to remedy that other than, maybe just finding some workarounds. But again, it really does kind of depend from home to home.
So if you let me,
Your second system size after the 8 is 12, which is just barely over the limit. Maybe you would make those systems from just under the limit.
Did you hear that, Spencer?
I did not.
He was
No.
saying that right now we offer the 8 and 12, and the 12 surpasses that limit. That it'd be great if you guys offered the 8 and maybe just the next tier, which would keep you under that limit.
Yeah. So you're saying an 8 kilowatt system and a 12 kilowatt system, or an 8 panel system and a 12 panel system?
You made it 11.6 kilowatts, that probably.
11.6.
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're hoping to, and we do custom size systems. So if we do need to do an 11.6 kilowatt system, we can make that happen. What's on our website is just as a kind of base playbook, if you will. However, once we actually get a project advisor attached to the account, we can actually custom tailor the designs specifically to your roof. So it's definitely a real possibility that we can kind of get to an 11.6 kilowatt system without going up to a 12 kilowatt system, considering that each one of our panels right now currently sits at about 400 watts.
So I have a solution for that. If you go to your automotive policy and ask for $1 million umbrella, it will cover your home and everything you do. And it's relatively cheap. $300 to $800 a year, and it meets Duke's requirements, because I had the same problem. And looked around and they said, go talk to your auto officer. We've got it both through Geico and Farmers, and it's just an umbrella policy. It covers everything over whatever your normal insurance, and Duke took it. And it's not.
And those are sold in $1 million increments, so you could do 1 million, 2 million.
How much did you say?
It's about $300 to $600 a
Yeah,
year.
depending on who you go with, I'd say $300 to $800. You can get as low as $3.
Ours was 242. We have the first solar roof in Florida.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's actually something that I was not aware of, so I'm very happy to hear about that.
So someone just said that theirs was $242 a year for a $1 million policy.
And we have the solar type.
Basically a no-brainer.
My question is kind of related to the prior one about insurance. A lot of the Florida owners are being bothered by insurance companies with roofs over the 10-year mark. My question is, does the solar panels increase the life of your roof?
No, I mean, I definitely wouldn't say would it increase the lifespan of your roof. I mean, we are, in actuality, going to puncture it, but we do completely seal every point of contact to make sure that there's no leaks, no damages, anything like that. Now, if you want to kind of think of it as almost like a exoskeleton, if you will, that can go on your roof and protect against, windfall damage, hail, whatever it might be, then yeah, I mean, potentially, but I don't want to say that it can extend the lifespan of your roof, but can it protect your roof? Yes, in most cases it can.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to you about a problem I had with my solar panels after Ian. We had 2 days of cloudiness, so there was no solar production. And I had evacuated, and I came back on that Friday. The sun was coming out. I went down, I was looking at my solar panels. I was getting absolutely no solar production. And I was looking around trying to figure out why. And then, well, of course, before Ian, storm watch came on, so my power walls were at 100%. Power had been cut off to the island for 4 days. The problem was there was no place for the solar energy to go. So I had to run around the house, start turning on all the lights, the dryer, and everything else. So that was kind of a good problem to have, actually, that there was, because the grid was cut off, I could not backfeed anymore. And the power walls did what they wanted to do. So, and all my neighbors were without power for 4 days, and I was living up a life over there, doing loads of laundry and everything else because I had to dump the energy. Use it or lose it.
Yeah, definitely a very good problem to have. And, I think from your experience, the power walls did exactly what they were supposed to do, which is excellent. So I'm glad that you were able to have that experience.
Hi, I'm from Atlanta, actually. I'm interested in the solar roof, but the thing that I've come up across is that, and again, the products are great. The question is, are they designed for retrofit, or are they designed for new construction? It seems as if from a practical standpoint, some of us have a half-life roof on a $30,000 roof, changes the dynamics of when you put on a solar array. It's occurred to me, although I don't know where you take this, but to expedite the installation of a roof, if there's some way to package it with a replacement roof or something like that, I just don't know quite how to address it. But the question is, has that ever been explored? Obviously, new construction, go for it. But with a half-life on a 30-year roof, with a $30,000 roof itself, it's a pause for me. I'd like to have a solar panel. I'd like to have a solar Tesla roof. But all of a sudden, I get to this point in the conversation where I got to spring for half-life to replace a roof before I install the solar system. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I know I wouldn't say it's in the works. It's definitely being talked about, but there is nothing concrete there that would help remedy that situation.
Hi, I have a success story for Hurricane Ian on this one. Actually, 7 years ago, there was federal funds and everything to get solar panels, and I had 20 put on at that time. But then we came up and we wanted the power wall put on, so we added the 12 Tesla panels as well. And we just did this. It's been in effect now a little over a month. So we added the 12 Tesla, we added the battery on the front as well, and Hurricane Ian came through right after all of that. We had flooding all around us. It did not flood our house, but everywhere else around us was, but we never lost power. We do have City of Orlando, and they kept the power on the whole time. So, and then right after that though, our insurance company did ask us for a windstorm inspection to be done of the roof. And so they just did that last week, and we passed with flying colors after all of that. So technically it was only about a category 1 by the time it hit us, but nevertheless I was very happy that everything went good.
Yes,
Excellent.
I have a question. So I'm interested in a new solar system installation here in Florida, but where I am, where the house is located, is pretty much in the shadows most of the time. But I have almost 20 acres of land. Can the solar system be installed on a pedestal on the ground somewhere? Do you do that, or do you only do roof installation?
As of right now, we're only doing roof installations, unfortunately. So we won't do any ground-mounted systems at this point. I'm hoping that might change in the future, but as of right now, there is nothing in the works for a ground-mounted system.
Hi, I'm from Tallahassee, Florida, and we have a municipal utility. And I live in a very shaded neighborhood, and but we have two 30-megawatt solar farms, which I bought into and pay a little extra for my electric. However, when Hurricane Michael came through, it took away my shade and my roof, and now I have a metal roof. So that's a good thing, because I know it's easier to install solar panels onto a metal roof. I have standing seams, so with S-clamps, the whole 9 yards should be good. But my question really at the heart of this is, I currently have a whole house generator as well. So how would adding a solar system with batteries factor into the, kind of the tiered kick-in of each of those units? And is that something you've done before, and have you had experience with?
And just to clarify, you're looking at solar panels, not solar roof. You don't want to replace
Panels, yeah.
Gotcha. And just to clarify, there was a new update internally where we cannot install on a standing seam metal roof any longer. I don't have the exact reason, but currently that is not an option for Tesla at this current point. But in regards to you already having a backup generator and then installing the Powerwall battery once that happens, what would happen is that your Powerwall batteries would essentially kind of work with your backup battery, your backup generator, to kind of turn the Powerwalls as a plan A, and if the Powerwalls ever fail or run out of power, that's when your backup generator will come in as a plan B option. So they can kind of work with tandem with one another in regards to talking with your meter to kind of determine what is going to be best for your current usage at the time. But in most cases, the Powerwall battery should basically make your generator redundant to the point where you really won't have to use it.
Maybe solar roof.
Maybe solar roof.
Okay, I have kind of a technical question regarding the solar roof and shading. I know typically for a panel, solar panel type roof, when you come into shading, that degrades the overall performance if you're using string inverters. And the typical solution there is to use optimizers or microinverters. I was wondering how or what the solution is for shading on a Tesla solar roof. How's that handled?
So with the solar roof itself, they do use optimizers, but we also use max power point trackers. So throughout the day, your solar panels are constantly, or your solar roof rather, is constantly tracking the sun to obtain the most photovoltaic rays to get the most energy sent into your system. So it's constantly tracking, it's constantly trying to get the most amount of sun, and it will focus that energy so we can go ahead and then use that and then bring it into the inverter, clean that energy, and then get that sent through the house.
Okay, I'm going to ask a forward-looking question, so I guess I'm not going to get an answer. But one of the questions that was brought up to me before the conference was about the ability to schedule drawdown from Powerwalls. So at the moment, it seems a very automated process where if the power trips out or whatever, then the Tesla will draw down the power to supply the house. But the question was, well, maybe I'd actually prefer the power only to be drawn down overnight because I want to do something and I want to save it during the day. So is there a way that you can schedule how the energy is taken out of the power walls?
Absolutely, and that's directly through the Tesla app. So you can actually control when the Powerwall turns on and when it turns off. For example, a lot of people in California will actually use it for time of use basis. So they'll use it from anywhere from, let's say, 7 p.m. and have it shut off at 7 a.m., essentially allowing them to be solar 24/7. So that's a feature that we have already built in. You can also control when that goes out. You can control how much energy actually goes out. So let's say you want to use maybe 30% of the power wall at night, but you want to make sure it never falls below 70%. You can preset that in your app to make sure that it never falls below the 70% reserve. So let's say if it does during a night, if it hits to 69%, it'll automatically cut itself off to the point where you then start drawing from the grid again. But it's completely customizable directly through the Tesla app.
Cool, very good. So we don't need it. Forward to the question. As again, I'm going to have to cut things off because we're running out of time. So we'll do one more question. But as I said before, we did do an online session with these guys before. I'm sure you'd be more than willing to do another one. So if sounds like there are a lot more questions. So who was first? Back was first.
There's a little bit of irregularity in the Tesla Powerwall and panels, not Tesla roof. I live in Orlando with a 5 kilowatt system. The guy who installed it is a really genuinely good guy, like so many are in the solar industry, but he left the industry to become a consultant only. Tesla will not add panels to my system and add a Powerwall for me. And this is the city of Orlando, and I'm OUC, not Duke Energy. Just thought I'd let you know. Any thoughts?
Yeah, so I mean, unless I was able to directly look at your project, which I'm not able to, I'd be able to give you a clear answer. What generally happens with these is that if you don't have enough roof space, that's typically the biggest thing. So we'd have to take a look at your roof to see if we can fit a 4.8 kilowatt system, which generally takes about 240 square feet. So that would be my go-to, is maybe why we're not being able to, or maybe you do have enough space, but in that space, there's also a substantial amount of shading, which we wouldn't want to install. So that could definitely be the reason why we wouldn't install, because it just doesn't make sense. We want to make sure that we're doing the best things for our clients, and if we find that it's not going to be able to pull that power that it should, then we're going to tell you straight up and we're going to go ahead and not install, unfortunately. I'm hoping that gets remedied in the future, but it really depends on the roof size and shading. That's really comes down to that when it comes to adding new systems.
Cool. Thank you, Spencer. We appreciate you jumping
Spencer.
on the line on the Saturday. Although we know all Tesla employees work 7 days a week, so obviously
That's right.
regular work.
Just also want to let you all know that we are available any of our locations. If you have questions, we have a team of advisors there. If we don't know the answer, we know who to reach out to. We have maybe 15 or a handful of Spencers around that we can reach out to, so we're always there.
And then we'll run another online session by the club, so watch out for an event notification. We'll probably do one in November, probably something like that. And then you guys can get the answers to all the questions you need. Alrighty. Thank you very much. Thank you, Spencer.
Thank you so much, you guys.